Sean Stinson.
Starring in the film Man Made. I was competing in 2014 and 2015. And went to go recompete and actually got injured along the way and was still able to take part and be a part of the film. And I actually judged this last competition. So I'm just thrilled that I was still able to take part of such a wonderful documentary.
Okay, what can you say about those that you have inspired? You've inspired so many people as a life coach.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. I mean, that comes natural to me. Just teaching people how to love themselves. Self-love is the best love, and from that point, then anything is possible. So I pretty much mind, body, and spirit coach far more than just a personal trainer as far as the body, but also the mind. So that's what I do.
You're such an amazing person, not only for myself and other people that are watching, but what advice would you give to others to love themselves for who they are and what they're going through? You're just such an inspiration.
Well, one of the things that one of the keynotes I give people is just to treat your essence, your spirit as you would an infant. Protect yourself just as you would an infant, and if you keep that in mind, you can't go wrong.
You're such an inspiration for so many people. We have to get inside, and there are so many people waiting to see the film. So many of us are waiting to see the film, and I'm like in awe of you, and so many people are speechless for what you have done for yourself and other people and what this transition is. We're gonna go in, they're waiting. They're actually waiting for us. Let's go in.
So often in my life, just surviving was an accomplishment. Just taking a shower, just not killing myself was an accomplishment.
Making muscles in the mirror when you're 4 years old and thinking that's what you're gonna grow up to be. I mean, it's just making that 4-year-old in the mirror match.
So let's bring the lightweights on stage.
I wasn't really sure if I was going to do it until I actually walked into the doors.
You feel trapped for a long time. You feel trapped. The world just opened up, just felt free.
It's definitely going to be a showdown tonight. We got some tight bodies.
Know that all these people, they all had the same courage you had to stand up there being judged by the world and not care. I've been called every name in the book, but I am doing what I need to do to be my authentic self.
That's me. Oh my God.
I was sent to the pastor and called out in the middle of a church, dapped some holy oil on his hand and started slapping me on the head and praying for demons to come out.
Give me a big though. I missed you.
I miss you too, Mama.
We're all different. We all have different stories. We all transition differently.
I wouldn't want him to not be himself because I might not be attracted to him anymore. He was my person, I thought.
How can you not be okay with your kid being happy? Dead kid or kid? Boy or girl, I don't care.
We're not monsters, we're not demons. We're humans just like everybody else, we're just a little different.
I guess there's a time in your life where you want to stop hiding and just kind of live your life and not care what people think.
Thank you, gentlemen. Y'all give them a big hand.
It's just nice to be called what I want to be called.
I agree what you said. Thank you.
In regards to this film, what are you proud of when it comes to this film? If you can say one thing about this film that you're proud of, what is it?
I'm proud of the fact that it was produced, it's a trans film, and it was produced by a trans producer. Like that's and it was it's the only transgender bodybuilding competition in the world, and the fact that this film was produced by a trans man.
Yeah.
That's it.
What sets this film apart from every other film when it comes to transgender, gay?
That what I just stated?
That is just a bodybuilding
There's a lot of
competition?
trans films that are out there. There's a lot of trans documentaries. This right here, T. Cooper is the first transgender male to produce a trans film. The FTM bodybuilding competition is the first only transgender body competition, and that's what he happened to cover. So that in itself, that's history.
Yes.
So that's what makes it, that separates it from all the other documentaries and films.
Mr. Cooper, can you tell us what you are proud about most about this film?
Just to be able to show trans lives that are varied and full and rich and not all the same just because they have one thing in common. It's just really important for me to show, like I said, 360-degree lives because all these guys are way more than just their labels.
Their labels, exactly.
They are, you know, they are finding family, they're losing family, they're falling in love, they're falling out of love, they're having babies, they're doing everything that we all do, losing jobs, getting jobs. So for me, it was really important to show those trans lives on screen because I don't see those trans lives on screen.
Exactly. Now, with so much going on, let's talk about you know, as I mentioned, color, sex trafficking, and so much going on with labels. How can you coincide the trans life with, like, for example, Black Lives Matter or sex trafficking? How can you coincide the value of your voice?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Yeah, that's a big one. But for me, it's just about like just meeting people where they are and honoring people for where they are in their lives. And you might not get it, or you might not think that's the best they can be, but you need to meet them for their best, just like they can meet you where they're best, for your best. And so for me, we're all related. We're all blood. We're human. Different.
We're all human.
Yes. There's nobody who's not different, and it's a myth that some people are the norm and everyone else is different. So for me, to be able to have people relate to these guys and feel like I couldn't be more different than that person, but wow, I just found 5 things that I have in common.
Hey, you have in common. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? I want to say this. I want to say thank you for doing what you're doing and having the courage to be who you are and be a voice for those that are afraid to say, this is who I am.
I really appreciate it. Same to you.
Seriously.
Thanks for coming out.
I knew I was different, but I didn't know how. There was a lot of rumors being passed and a lot of whispering and a lot of pointing and laughing. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just I never felt like a female.
Sean Simpson was the winner of our first competition. So it means a lot to me that someone like Sean, who is a straight trans man, to be able to come and say, hey, I am trans and here's my body.
My definition of being transgender is being born in the wrong body.
Gosh, I feel like you're making...
Just relax.
No, because you know what? You know how he is about me and pizza, so now that I'm around him, I'm trying to get it all together. Look healthy and everything.
You had pizza this week?
No, I didn't have pizza. That's why my sugar keeps dropping. I need my pizza.
Well, you should have some pizza.
I didn't want to hear your mouth because I knew you were going to ask me.
If you're not feeling well, then that's
pizza saves my life.
Well, then eat pizza then, because I don't want nothing to happen. Pizza saves your life.
Pizza saves my life.
That's what you say.
Whatever. Anyway, Sean, tell us about you.
Tell me.
I want to know about you. We want to talk about you now. We'll go into everything else, but I want to know about you right now as a fitness coach.
What am I doing?
Yes.
Well, I'm a personal trainer, and I'm a, you can call me a life coach. I inspire people to fall in love with themselves. So if you have to put a label on it, there you go, life coach. And that's pretty much the essence of life, period, is you. So we all have our own individual universes, if you will.
Which do you love more, the fitness aspect of the coaching?
I like both because they go hand in hand. So either way it goes, like pretty much I can help anybody. You know, but the thing is, I cannot help. I take that back. So I can help anybody, just the average person in a situation, hard predicament, just needing to iron out some things up here, right? But if there's somebody coming to me that wants me to scope them, I cannot help them until I fix this.
Interesting. So how do you fix this? Can you give us just a couple of your secrets?
Well, it's not really a secret. It's just I get the person and I do a kind of assessment process them in, and I have them fill out paperwork and we have a conversation. And from that point, I can just read people.
What are some of the questions you ask?
Well, typical questions are based around the fitness part, and like for one, a key question for me is, what's your goal weight? I ask that on person on purpose. It's a true question. What's your goal weight, and have you been involved in any program?
Okay.
So if they put a weight down for a goal weight, that sets a tone for me right there to inform them that, pretty much to reprogram their mind as not having necessarily a goal weight, but we have a body goal. How do you want to look and how do you want to feel?
Right.
So I reprogram and I explain to them the difference between the body fat and the muscle, right? Educate them on that, and then leading forward as far as the program.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been on any other program? If the answer is yes, the next question is, did it work or didn't it? And if it didn't, why? So if it didn't work, they always have a reason behind it. And I let them vent, and then I turn and tell them that the reason it didn't work was because of them. Nothing.
So you're making them become accountable for the failure of the last program.
Right. And then we kind of
holding them accountable.
and figure out where it is that they want.
Okay. How did you get here? Like, how did you get to? Because I have been stalking my fans, and we found your Facebook, and we went through all the pictures. And so we did. Oh my gosh, they started sending me screenshots. They went further than I did. So yeah, I saw that you were DJ, baby fake DJ. That was interesting. So how did you get here to fitness coach? And then we'll go back to the DJ living.
Well, I've always been intrigued by fitness, period. I've always been like athletic, and I want to say 2002 was when I really dove deep into bodybuilding. And let me just clarify, bodybuilding is sculpting of the body. So anybody can be a bodybuilder. It's if you understand genetics, the way the body works, the muscle, tissue, and whatnot, and learning how to contract certain muscles and certain exercises you do in order to carve yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have competition.
Mm-hmm.
So usually people, when you say the word bodybuilding, everybody thinks of the stage,
right?
And like 12 guys. Yeah, and that's not it. Anybody could be a bodybuilder. So I've always been a bodybuilder. Didn't know that then, but now I understand the definition.
And who taught you that, or is that a concept you came up with yourself?
Well, it's nothing to be taught. It is. It's bodybuilding. What is bodybuilding? What is bodybuilding?
Well, until now, I would have thought it was building muscle, building your body
there you go.
up.
So do I have to be on someone's stage and being judged to be a bodybuilder?
No.
That's competing.
Okay.
So that's a sport.
Okay.
No different than basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everybody that plays ball isn't in the NBA.
Okay.
Doesn't play for a college team.
Okay.
Right? But I can easily go get a rock and go out. Where's the nearest gym? Let's go shoot some hoop.
Okay.
And I can do that on a regular. Like that's my fitness routine, right?
Okay.
Playing ball.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that I'm not a ball player?
Right.
Absolutely not. I'm a ball player.
Right. You just
I just don't play
ball.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's the same thing when you're talking about body.
Oh, okay, so there's professional bodybuilders, and then there's just people who
not even professional, because you got amateur.
Well, that's
right?
true. That's true. You just flip correct. What's wrong?
No.
Okay, so go back to what motivated you to become a fitness coach?
I think what it was when I first started off, I received all the wrong information, and this was because I wasn't studying. I didn't look into it for myself. I was taking the word of other. Marine Corps, 7 years. Once a Marine, always a Marine. So I've got that in my blood. Just lifting in the gym and just listening to all these guys. I was very small. I was like 100 pounds, soaking wet, right? And I think it's not what I think. I got tired of being tiny, so I just went to the gym, and at that time I was trying to gain weight, and I couldn't. And everybody's advice was to eat, just eat. Yeah, I had high metabolism.
So keep going.
So everybody's advice is eat, man. You gotta eat anything.
Yeah, eat.
So I was getting potato bread and just peanut butter, just cake. I mean, half the jar. Peanut butter sandwiches on potato bread.
So not fair.
All kind of stuff. And eventually I picked up the weight, and I think what helped my core area, what saved me, was because I was in and we had to run. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of cardio involved, and that's another reason why I wasn't able to pick up weight as well. because that's a whole nother situation.
Right.
But once I got out and continued my same diet that I had, and drinking and whatever, no cardio involved to run all that stuff out, I started gaining weight here. Nasty,
the wrong place.
The fluff, the fluff. So
I haven't found that.
I
have to go keep stalking.
I got some. They're on there. So I became obsessed with crunches. You know, just the core exercises, and I found my core getting bigger. So I was like, yo, what is going on? So that's when I started reading.
Okay.
And I kept coming. It just kept coming back to diet.
Okay.
And I said, man, I don't need it. I can eat anything I want. I don't. It can't be it.
Right.
That's indeed what it was. So 2000, right at the end of 2000, December 2013, was when I said, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to do it. I did everything else. Listen, and I did it. And within like 30 days, 2 months, 6 months, it was like, whoa, dramatic change, dramatic transition. All from that. Now, I was discouraged originally because I started to lose weight. But what it was, I was losing the fluff.
Right.
See?
Right.
So a lot of that weight that I had, the mass I had was body fat. It wasn't even muscle. But the muscle, when you have muscle up under there, of course, you in the wintertime it looks awesome. You're just like this big buff dude. But in the summertime, you just fluffy. You know, you're not sculpted, right? So anyway, leading into it was still winter. It was still cold, and I was getting discouraged because I would come across people. I was DJing still, and they're like, "Yo, Tells, DJ Tells, you losing weight, man?" And to say that to somebody that's gaining,
right? Man, that messed with you.
Yeah, bad. So I stuck with it. Summertime came around, sun's out, guns out. Tones changed. It went from that to you box, you bodybuild, and then I started. That's when the bodybuilding. I'm like, no.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So motivation came from the compliments and your
pretty much
your progress.
Yeah, so it got me to thinking, and then that's when it was just like, you know, let me try this. At the time, I thought it was, you know, I didn't think nothing of it. It's the bodybuilding competition. I was like, well, I'll play it safe, and I'll just get into that. Nobody really knows about that, so I'll just, you know, because I was discreet as far as who I am,
right?
As far as being trained, so I felt like that was a safe way to go. And then if I depending on how and when, if I liked it, then, you know, I venture off and do something else. And that's what happened. And I got first place, and they said, you know, here comes CNN and all this, and I was like, yo, it just blew up.
Right.
So that took everything to another level, of course, you know. But that's where the transition as far as the body sculpting came into play, because now I know that nutrition plays a vital part in you molding and sculpting your body. So if you have an ideal goal, like people have this body, and they always come with pictures. I want to look like him. I want to look like her. Right. It's like, okay, well, this is what you have. Exactly. So it's, you know, you look at the time that you only spend about an hour in the gym. Right. Some people a little long, but an hour. Some people a little less. But think about the amount of time that you're out the gym. Right. That's what counts. Exactly. So you can't outwork a bad diet. Exactly. So if you don't have that together, it's like trying to build a house with no wood. With no wood. Yeah. A brick. Or no foundation. Right. You have to have the foundation first. Right. And then you can the clay, you know. Exactly. I can't sculpt anything without clay.
Interesting. So the motivation came from we would say an insecurity that you had in regards to having the ability to hold on to weight or to gain weight.
Yeah, you can say that as far as I just like I said, since I can remember, I was intrigued by nice bodies. I've always been athletic, always been into something. I'm hyper in a sense. You know what I mean? I always got to be doing something. Right. So that was already in me, but you know, as I got older, went into the Marine Corps and everything, it's like, man, you know, like average guy. I don't want, you know, I want a nice chest. I want, you know, abs. I want this. I want that. Just like the average guy. Interesting. And, yeah, it's just a matter of knowing exactly what to do. Get it.
Well, we'll come back to that. We're gonna come back to the more of the inspiration and motivation behind the body sculpting. Last night, I accompanied you, well, we all accompanied you to Man-Made, a documentary. And I was telling them that it's very rare. Here we go. Yes, there he is. I knew that that's comfortable.
I'm comfortable.
I'm not often lost for words. I talk a lot.
Do you?
Yes, I talk a lot. Last night I was speechless.
Right.
The film, okay, for those of you that don't know, Man-Made is a documentary about trans men working to compete in a trans while he's moving bodybuilding competition here in Atlanta, Georgia. It shared, it didn't go, I wish it would have went a little more into detail, but I guess the focus point was the competition aspect of it. And this competition is the competition that you won 2 years in a row, first place, and you were the first trans male bodybuilder in the world. So the film touched on that and also shared lives of living trans male. See, just like as I think about the film, I was just kind of like, wow, so many of us go through so much. If anybody has had a story or a testimony, you can understand what it takes to be courageous, to talk about what you're going through, and to share your life. And you guys are it's bold and courageous. How do you feel that film represented trans men? Like, how do you feel about the film? Do you feel it represented you guys properly?
It's not about you guys, because we're all individuals.
Okay.
So what it did, it represented each one of those men, their story, a direct representation of them. Okay. If you notice, all the storylines were different.
Yes, they were.
But is that not the same within life? It's that's it. I think in a nutshell, what it did, it showed just how similar we are to everybody else.
Right.
There's nobody that's the same. There's nobody has, we share the same pains. I may relate to you on certain things.
Okay.
But it's a huge melting pot. Like, my story is, I can relate because of the topic.
Okay.
But I have a completely different story.
Right. Right.
Some of them came from broken homes.
Right.
That were the main.
As we saw, one of them adopted out.
Right. But I didn't have those struggles when I was a kid. Not that I had certain struggles, but that wasn't one of them, as far as being isolated from my family or whatnot.
Right.
So I think that's something, a gift that I have to share with many others, as far as my upbringing and how well I turned out.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with me.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with my family.
Right.
So I can kind of.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your upbringing. As growing up, as a young woman, growing up, I know we had talked and you were pretty much a tomboy, as far as, you were a boy for all the way back as far as you can remember, right? Did you ever play with dolls? Did your mom buy you dolls and you ever play with it, or were you one of the ones to take the head off and throw it and go get a G.I. Joe or a truck or a rock or something?
Well, first, let's make a correction.
Okay.
And let me just say, in this interview, I'm only speaking for myself.
Okay.
Do I have represent the community? Sure, I represent some. Some will raise their hand and say, and others maybe not, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm saying now, I'm talking about me.
Right.
So it may not apply for somebody else.
Exactly.
Okay. So using the terminology woman, I was born as a girl on paper.
Okay.
To me, a woman, there's a difference between a young lady, a young girl, and a woman. You are a woman. If there was a 5-year-old girl that walked in here, I wouldn't call her a young woman. I would say that was a child.
Okay.
A girl. Right?
Right.
So, never was I that.
Never.
Woman.
Okay. Ooh.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Go on with it.
So,
that's
to answer your question, as far as, my childhood and what I played with, what I played with and what was purchased for me and everything. You know, I was born the gender with the gender F on my
birth certificate.
Yeah. So what? You know, I got purchased the little ruffles and the whole Easter basket with the dress and yeah, I got purchased all that stuff. I play with them a little different.
How did you play with them? Like a boy would play with them?
I think so, because I have a cousin. Okay. He's a couple of years younger than me. We were like this. We were more like siblings than anything.
Remove the label.
And
I'm sorry, sir. Remove the label.
I mean, he played with them too. So I didn't see nothing, you know what I mean? We all play. Right. Everybody played.
Right.
And I loved his toys.
Right.
My mom, this is how she spotted dead on it that I was different, right?
Okay.
So I would go to the store with her. I would be able to pick out whatever I wanted.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
If I went to the store with my grandmother, I would try to tell her what I wanted. She would always show me something else. And she was, you know, granted doing what the typical, you know, some women would do, right, with their granddaughter or daughter or whatever. It's like, all right, whatever. But my mom, she was just kind of like, you know. Right. And she worked at a Holiday Inn. I never forget it. She worked at Holiday Inn. Okay. So she would clean rooms. Okay. And if a kid left back toys, like what toys and stuff, she'd bring them. So I had like what was it? Oh man, what was the action figures back then?
G.I. Joe?
Not the G.I. Well, yeah, I had G.I. Joes, but it was the cat.
Thundercats?
Thundercats!
That's my show!
And Transformers, like
yeah,
she would bring me the little action figures and stuff. And man, Thrill. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay, so
I was different. I played in dirt and, you know, dug up worms.
I did the mud pies and different things. So what was your reaction as a young girl when you got these Easter baskets and the dresses with the ruffles?
I mean, my reaction was like, you know, inside I didn't understand it because you can say I kind of envied my cousin because I like the way he was brought up was a little the way he got treated and talked to was a little different from me, and I would just, you know, it would get to me and I have thoughts that I didn't even know how to express. I didn't understand what I was going through, what I was feeling. So how do you expect a child to relay something like that? Right. Then, you know, maybe now it's a little different because it's a little more mainstream. But I just felt, I knew in that world that's the way things were, and I didn't understand it. I just kind of went with the flow of it. Not saying I cared for it. It was just like, whatever. Okay, this is what I am. This is how I feel. But this is what I am. So whatever.
How was it? What was it like playing with other kids, other little girls? Like, did you find yourself more rough around the edges with the girls, and they're like, "Oh, you pushed me too hard," or?
No, because I liked them.
Yeah, you liked them.
Yeah, I wasn't well, I take that back. Yeah, once I reached a certain age, I did, because I used to like really rough my sister up big time. My half sister. I'm an only child, but I have my father's side. He's got like, I don't even know how many of us it is, to be honest with you. Wow. But her, we kind of grew up together. We're close. We're close.
So as far back as you can remember being a little girl, you liked other little girls. Did you ever like try to kiss them or anything like little boys would do?
I mean, you played house. I was always the.
You playing hide and go get it?
I mean, yeah, we played house, and I'll always be the boy.
How did the girls feel?
What do you mean? How they feel? We're kids. We just went with it. Kids. That's the thing. That's the difference between adults and kids. Kids don't think. They just react off of how they feel. Kids don't think. There's nothing. The minute kids start thinking is when they're programmed by their parents and by their peers and society. Other than that, like for example, if we was to have some children, some mixed children, and then set them in a room and watch them go. Boys, girls, you'll catch little boys, like if a boy falls down and he starts crying, and you'll see, I've seen it time and time again, like daycare and stuff, little boy go over and he'll like kiss him on the head or whatever, like, and pat him like, it's okay, come on. And then at some point you get taught, boys don't do that. You don't kiss no boy. You know?
So when you,
You see what I'm saying? It's just natural.
Okay, but it's natural. Okay, we can go back and forth on, I guess it is programming or whatever you want to call it. But I know me as a little girl, and I've been with women in my adult life. But as a little girl, if a little girl kissed me, I would probably sock her. And I don't know if that was programming. It's just a natural instinct.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. I was never the one that kissed. I got kissed first. I was very, very reserved. I was a shy child. I was the only child. Wow. So whenever something like that took place, I remember me and my mother, my first time of playing house, I remember it to this day. Me and my mother stayed in the projects. And she went to work and my great-great watched me. How does that sound? It's horrible because I pretty much, man, I couldn't have, how old was I? Oh, man. I wasn't in school yet. But I remember her we had neighbors and you know how the projects are set up. The doors are right there. And it was the porch was attached. So the door was literally right there. Right. And where you going, baby? And I'm about to go outside. And she's like, no, you can't go out. Open the door, slam it, and go walk next door and go in there and play. She never told on me. And it just sucks. I wish she was still alive today so I can kiss her. Just like, I'm so sorry for being so horrible. But so I go over there and play, and that was the first time that I got introduced to, house. So that was them. That wasn't even.
So the kids.
Yeah.
So obviously they had, because I don't believe kids play house unless they've been subjected to something.
Programming.
They've seen something, or
obviously.
Okay.
And at the same time, kids are curious. But to take it to that degree in which it was, from what I remember, yes, of course. Of course.
And you were the boy always. The boy, when you were a young girl, did boys have crushes on you?
Of course.
How did you feel about that?
I wanted them to be my friend, but you go along with the title of it because that's the way it is. Yeah. Okay, that's my boyfriend. We play basketball together.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But and again, that's programming that's going against how I felt and just going with the way it's supposed to be. So as I got older, that's when change started coming off me. It's like, you know what? It's not a matter of being rebellious. It's just a matter of like, I'm not comfortable.
Right.
I don't like this. I don't like you. So why would I say and act like I like you when I don't?
Right.
You know what I mean?
When did you get to that point? Like you had a boyfriend. Did you have a boyfriend in high school? Okay.
In high school, no. That's a point where I started to get like aggravated. The last of that was right at 8th grade. Moving forward into that summertime and going into like freshman year, and I'll never forget, it was like, it was, oh man, there was always the girls that I liked. Such has a crush on me. And I'm like, I don't even like you. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay. And then you just kind of play it off like, And then finally I just, and it was a girl that we were I consider her my high school sweetheart, right? But it was one of them things where I was a secret, so I was her best friend. That was my girlfriend, I was her best friend, and she would go to prom with guys and stuff and have boyfriends. So it was like I played the secret.
Yeah,
I played the secret.
So in high school, you didn't have any boyfriends in high school? And so in high school, when did you come out?
There is no coming out with me. I just was me. There was no announcement. There was no, hey.
It was pretty obvious.
It was obvious. Once I want to say, once high school kicked in, I just kind of I think every year I kind of became more of me, of who I was. You know what I mean? Right. It was just like, it was slow. It wasn't like, the next day, boom.
Surprise.
But, right. But it was, definitely by senior year, it was over.
Okay.
And a lot of people still, they knew about me and her, but it was just, we got into a lot of fights about that. Yeah, because I was just like, if you care for me that much, why do I have to be a secret?
Right.
So when I left home, and went into the military, that was my breath of fresh air. Yeah, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
This is it, Sean. This is it. Like, new start, new people, nobody to, feel like
you gotta hide from.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back to that. I want to go back to your childhood. Now we were talking about, conditioning or kids being, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposed to certain things. People in society, me being one of them until, I was educated on it, it was like a big duh. Often think that people who are gay or transgender have been sexually abused as children. Were you one of those that were sexually abused as children? Never.
Like I said, my first encounter with another reason private parts are used other than to go to the bathroom was with other kids.
Wow. Well, I'm sure those other kids, though, that were playing house were sexually abused. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been.
I wouldn't say that. I'm not going to jump and say that.
Well, I would say just from statistics.
Okay.
Well, we could speculate, but just from statistics and my own experience in life, there's like 2 in 5 children or 3 in 5 children that have been sexually abused, and then there's statistics of the transgender or gay children that have been abused. Now, not all of them have. Not all of them.
Yeah,
but there's
a problem with that because that's usually what a lot of people lead to, and that's what they believe because that's what's put out in media. That's the focus point. It's always the negative in it, for the most part. That's focused upon. But if that's the case, then we could sit there. There's a lot of women that have not came out and said that they were sexually abused that are happily married.
Right.
Does that thing exist? Yes, but that doesn't necessarily
it applies to everyone.
For somebody to go in a certain direction.
Right.
As far as who they are.
Right.
And again, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me, this was like nothing. Like I've got a good family. We have just like any family out there. There's certain issues within, but definitely not that. Strong foundation. Anything that did go down, it did stay within the family as far as, just misunderstandings, lack of communication, stuff like that.
Right.
But none of that. And here's another myth that, a boy or girl being raised by majority men, a girl being raised by majority men, or vice versa, that will direct that child into the opposite sex. I was raised by majority females. Women, excuse me. One male figure that was in my life, and that was my grandfather, and he was always working. He was a police officer.
Okay.
He was always working. Everybody else, I got aunties. I got a couple uncles. One of them, he was in the army. Never seen him except for every 3 years he probably would come home or something. And then another uncle, I never really seen him until it was like a holiday or somebody's birthday.
Okay.
So nobody really spent time. I didn't have a male figure to, that I can kind of, lean on or get guidance from or anything like that. I always wanted that when I was a kid.
Right.
But it was just me, my mom, my aunts, my grandmother, women.
Right. And they're just...
So where did this come from? Right. That was nothing. And they're feminine as I don't know what. Oh my God. Can you put my I was always having to put on, fasten the necklaces and the dress shoes, and it's just like that was so aggravating.
Some will argue that it's rebellion.
I don't care what they argue. That's what people can argue and waste their energy on whatever they feel. All that matters is what I know. My job is not for people to understand me. My position and anybody's position in life is to understand others and the way they think and be okay with it. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Wow. So you said that was your freedom, going into the military.
Leaving home, yeah.
Oh, leaving home.
That was my gate.
So when
I had no other means to leave, like most young kids, out of high school. It was that or stay back home and work for a grocery store or something. You know, I did have the option of going for police force, but that's not something I wanted. I knew that I'd be following in my grandfather's footsteps, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But that was an option. But
so when you
something bigger.
So when you spread your wings, and you're like, I'm free, and you went off to the military. I want to talk about boot camp. How much fun did you have in boot camp?
Oh man, it was. I had my drill instructor, the senior drill instructor. She looked out for me. Okay. Because the other ones, they tried to beat the feminine in me, literally. Yeah, it was like Staff Sergeant Daniels. I'll never forget it. She came in later too. She like replaced somebody or so. I can't remember how it happened, but I just know all of a sudden she popped up. Tall and vicious. And she was the main one that was like stayed on me. She would like approach me in line and whisper in my ear, "You know you a girl." Wow. It was deep. And then when it got time for pictures, I refused to put makeup on. Right. All the other women, they were, putting makeup on, or girls, where we were still young. I was like 18. So, putting makeup on and everything, and I was just like, And then here she comes, and she was just in my face. You're not gonna put makeup on, Stinson. You're not gonna, you're a lady, Stinson. You need to put makeup on. And I was just like, man,
harassment?
Give me some chapstick. It's boot camp. The guys was getting their butts kicked.
Right, but there comes a point in time where you cross the line.
You don't understand. That's civilian mentality. This is boot camp. This was Marine Corps. Okay. Marine Corps boot camp. Yeah. Not Army, not Air Force. Yeah, Marine Corps.
Whatever.
3 months long. So it's a different world. Like we were on, it was Paris Island. We're on an island surrounded by gators. Oh. If that tells you anything. Infested with sand fleas that bite. So when you're training, of course the training is outside. Right. So you were required to stand at attention, and while these sand fleas feast on you, and you cannot move. And if you moved, then you pretty much were penalized. You have to go to what you call like the pit or the quarter deck, which is just what you do different exercises. They wear you out till you flat on your face.
Okay, so you said that they tried to beat the feminine in you.
Not physically, but mental harassment. But
Did you have long hair then still? Did you still have the braids?
I still had hair, but they would, you would have to put it up or whatever.
So you weren't in a bun?
So I couldn't. There was. I think I just would put it up and then just kind of wrap it like that or whatever. And
so did you have
nothing fancy? It was boot camp,
Right.
As long as it wasn't below your collar, then you were fine.
Right. So did you have any fun in boot camp?
So
in your oops in boot camp?
You crazy? No, like that's all you thinking about is going home. It's not. No, it's literally from sun up to sundown. It feels like the minute you close your eyes, you're woken back up with trash cans thrown. That's the last thing that's on your mind. You want to get out of there. The women are crazy. Men are crazy or whatever. It was a separation between the two. Right. They had us like way on the other side. I know Army is like a mix and all the other branches, but it wasn't like that with the Marine Corps. Like it was total isolation from the sexes. Right. Right. So, and we had whatever the gender. That's who's your drill instructor. So it wasn't even like men. There was no mingling. The only time we came across the fellas was during the rifle range and swim qual. And it was like, they eyes front. I didn't have a problem with that.
Interesting. So nothing other than, being in the Marines, nothing life-changing that happened during, let's go past boot camp, let's go into when you actually went and you completed
once
boot camp.
I got out in the fleet. Life-changing as far as...
You said, you felt free.
At that point, I was able for the first time, I was able to literally look a guy in the face and tell him like, I'm not interested in you, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like direct,
right?
And felt good about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is who I am. The problem, I didn't feel like I was as free as I wanted to be, because it came times where certain events, like me dating, I couldn't just be open about within the work space, within uniform, about who I was talking to, because that's what it was, a don't ask, don't tell. I wasn't comfortable with that. But other than that, everybody knew, you know, but it wasn't something that I could talk about in the workplace. I couldn't like say, oh yeah, my girlfriend should be coming, or I gotta go, my girlfriend just went, you know, to the hospital, or she's sick, I need to stay home and take her, or something like that, you know what I mean? None of that. It was just, everything had to be, you had to be careful with how you worded things.
Really? So in the military, was there discrimination against homosexuality? Did you experience any of it?
Did I?
Yeah. No.
I did it. I'm sure there was. There's several stories out there, but I never had any problems when it came to that. I think it's because a lot has to do with my demeanor. I didn't know anything about it then, but now I study and I know all too well the law of attraction. So I was already attracting certain things to me then without meaning to, just based off how I felt and how I thought. So I was very, very proud. Even through insecurities, it was like the minute I step out, you know, I always carried this air about me, like, you know, this is who I am and I dare you to say so. You know what I mean? Yeah. And some people, they kind of coward, you know, and like, for example, in the movie, one of the competitors mentioned that he couldn't wait to go through therapy so that he could, you know, maybe, you know, his voice would change and maybe he would feel more comfortable about being more boisterous in the workplace. I never had that problem, you know. That wasn't an issue. That wasn't my reason for feeling, you know, taking measures to take things further with myself physically, not for confidence. You know what I mean? So, but again, everybody's story is different. So that was
yours is very unique. Your story, I mean, of all the stories that I've researched and read about, yours is definitely different. It's not so dark.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Oftentimes you read about trans life and everything they've gone through. Their stories are
being
dark.
abused and people, you know,
or depressed, or suicidal.
And I had those points in school when I was a kid.
Okay.
You know, in high school, you know, grade school, went through a lot.
Now, so while you were in school, did you have suicidal thoughts?
I did.
You did?
Absolutely.
And why?
Because I knew I was different, didn't know way of expressing it. Didn't feel like I had anybody to talk to about it and that would understand me, and just not feeling like I was accepted. At that time, I wanted to be accepted, and I didn't feel comfortable in this place, in this space, because I wasn't living my truth, and that goes for anybody, you know. We all have those situations, and at some point, I would think that at some point in everyone's lives, it's like you feel a little uncomfortable in a certain situation because you're doing something you don't want to do. There's a lot of kids, like for example, where they're playing a specific sport or whatnot, something because the parent wanted them. They're kind of living through their parents' eyes, or like I spoke on my grandfather being a police officer, and it's like that's just a thing, this is tradition, you know. It's kind of signing them up for it prior to not even listening to the child. Like, is that what the child wants to do? Yeah, they're good at it, but is that them? Is that who they are? No. So you're miserable. I have a client right now, and she's struggling in her head with her career as a basketball coach, because it's now kind of selling on her like, you know what, I never wanted to play ball in the first place. My father wanted me to play ball, and here I am, I'm in this full-fledged career as an adult doing so, and it's like work. It's work. Is she good at it? Absolutely, but she doesn't like it. I'm not, no, never. I refuse to be that guy. And that's one of the things that I teach to people. Like, you have to, what do you want?
Right. So you struggle with that and, you know, wanting to be comfortable and be yourself instead of living as someone else or hiding.
Yeah.
Did you ever attempt suicide?
Yeah. I had, didn't know, it was probably amateur. I never took anything, but I had them sitting on my nightstand. And I was just like, dude, let me tell you, the thing that would stop me from doing it, I was like, what if it doesn't happen and you just wake up ill? And then you got all these people standing over you, and it's embarrassing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was the thing that would stop me was that what if it doesn't go through? I'm like, okay. So what I would do was I would pray not to wake up. And I did take one. I don't remember what it was. It had to be very tragic. Whatever it was that happened, I tried to slip my wrist.
And it didn't go so well?
No. And not even deep enough to where I bled to death, or no, I had to be rushed to the emergency room. But it was enough to where, you know, and I just hit it, you know, nobody.
So no one ever
to this day, I don't even know. Any of my family knows about this now. I think about it.
Your mother, was she supportive of you? Because you said she knew.
I say one day, this is what turned the table for us. Talking to her now, she knew that I was different, right? And she never forced anything on me. But one time she did. It was going to a wedding, and it was a friend of hers that everybody thought, I would say Charlotte Lewis, everybody thought that Charlotte, if you didn't know Charlotte, you would think that Charlotte was a man. Now me looking at it, I'm like, Charlotte was trans. I thought, and I could be wrong, I mean, from my understanding and the history of it, I think Charlotte was hermaphrodite. All right?
Okay.
If any, for those of you that don't know what that is, that's when you're born with both male and female, as far as physically being able to see such a thing. And the parent has to decide at that point which route you want to take with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think
or
that's
just leave it as is.
Right.
So what happens is through puberty, let's say you have a child and you make the decision to, and this has happened. This goes on every day. So a lot of times you'll see people and you'll think that, okay, you'll label them as being gay, right? Or whatever, or lesbian. And so during this time frame, the parent says, you know what? And they're grieving, and they say, you know what? I really want a girl. I'm being light on this, but okay, girl, boom, has surgery. They got a girl. Child goes through puberty. What happens in puberty?
Beard,
hormones kicks in.
And now she has a vagina.
Yeah. So now, what does society label this child as?
Gay.
Puts them in a box.
Or
that's right.
Yeah. It's
and vice versa. And that's one. That's why it's so many different levels to this. And I question people. I say if and you have every right to have your. I could care less how you feel about things, but if that is, we know that is a fact. So why would it be any different for me hormonally,
right,
to be imbalanced, or anyone?
That's my argument.
So we have this. You have physical, and you have what you call like as far as right.
Yeah. I tell people all the time. So you're telling me there's people that could be born with 6 arms,
every time,
a penis and a vagina,
right, but
you can't.
Oh no, there could be nothing wrong
right.
with you, like your wires.
Right.
Not, and when I say wrong, there's nothing not wrong in the sense of like just different.
Right. So your mother took you to a wedding.
Okay, so we were going to a wedding, and I wanted to wear slacks. And she was like, no, this is what we're doing. You know, this is where we're going. This is why. No, just for this time. I said, well, Charlotte wearing pants. And she looked at me and she said, okay. And she walked out.
And you wore pants?
Yeah. But and we had a talk, and she said that right there that put me in my place. Right there.
So she knew from that moment.
Not that deep into it, but it was like, let me just leave this alone. Because how does that look as me as a mother raising my child and being okay with something in this area, but then when it comes to my child, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to.
How old were you
Where
then?
your parents? I think it was still grade school.
Really?
Yeah.
You would've got your ass
Yeah, it wasn't.
Put that dress on. You know.
See, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's traumatizing to a child. See? And that's why we have all the situations. We have a lot of crazies.
But do you think, okay, I understand the crazy thing, but there comes a point in time, you know, where there's the parent and the child. The problem I feel that we have today in society is that the children are telling the parents what to do.
There's a difference. This situation, there was energy that was exchanged. What she felt from that, it was nothing to be, not in regards of disrespect, but as a statement of who I am. I'm not comfortable in that. Do you hear me? We listen, but we don't hear for understanding. You listen to respond. And as a parent, it is your job it's a difference in a child being disrespectful and talking at their parent. No difference than a parent talking at their child. You're not supposed to talk at your kids. You're supposed to talk with them and have and understand them. I so admire Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Yes, the way they raise their kids. Because they raise them to be free. And they have conversations. That is my ideal. If I was to label someone as having a perfect family, that is it.
Wow.
And that's why.
So, in your opinion, is there a fine line between parenting and allowing kids to be individuals, in your opinion?
Yeah, there's a line between everything that's to be crossed. But that's where, you know, you familiar with balance. You gotta, it's something this can't, I can talk till I'm blue, but it's something that you just feel.
Right.
You come to this happy medium with your child, and I'm gonna tell you, like, when you have a conversation and you're open with your kids, you'll get a lot more out of them. But you still have to instill discipline.
Right.
It's weird.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
You have to have okay, so what is it? You have to be specific then in your question. Be specific. Give me something. Throw me a topic.
I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Okay. See, this is different. Like with my sons when they're getting ready for church.
Yep.
I'll tell them you're going to put this on. Well, I don't want to wear. No, you're going to wear this.
Okay.
Now I allow them, like on other days, dress yourself. I don't care if it's polka dots and stripes.
What is it that they want to wear?
When we're going to church, like I want them to wear slacks and pajamas.
They want to put on sweatpants.
Pajamas is like pajamas.
Okay, how do you? Okay, that's something.
You know, so then there's that, and now you have. Let's go back to your scenario, right? So let's see. Gosh, you know what? You can't really. There's at times we really can't say what we're gonna do until we're in that situation.
Let me talk about the. Let's. You asked a question about the church. It's a good example. All right, so. That comes from teaching a child as far as certain occasions, there is a certain style of dress. Not telling them, so for example, if they say, okay, for this event requires this, that structure, right?
Right.
And explaining to them and showing, like, you have to have meetings because a family is a corporation.
Right, we have family meetings.
Okay, so we have meetings and we say, okay, even put up like a board.
We have that.
So for this event, out of all these three pieces of attire, which will be appropriate? Make it fun, right? Okay, so now let's dig a little deeper. When you're talking about, I want to wear this, Mom. Okay, well, what type of attire is it? Now, if you're digging deep, if he's like, I want to wear this shirt with this slack, and if it's dressed, no,
polo shirt and a tie.
That is not acceptable because that's not the appropriate attire. What I'm talking about is totally different.
Okay, so for example, when he wanted to wear the polo, let's go. Now we know the pajamas. That was an argument that was just like far fetched. Now let's go with the polo shirts.
Yeah.
He wants to wear the clip-on tie with the polo shirts. And I was like, you don't wear the tie with the polo shirt.
How old is he?
They're 9. They're 9.
Okay.
That's the youngest twin. Now I let them do.
This is how I do it because I at one point I played part in raising a boy.
Right.
Okay. And what I would do is I would make stuff fun. When you make somebody feel good about something, it changes everything.
Okay.
Okay? Real good, real easy to do with money. If you pick up on the energy, like you tell him to go put it on or whatever, or you got everything lined up, right? And you're like, okay, put this on. And he puts it on. And you position him in the mirror, and you're like, okay, this is why this doesn't go. Let me show you something. Change him up. Woo! Now that's fine. You look good. You look good. Hey, y'all, come in here. Come check him out. What y'all think?
Right.
Oh, man, yeah, and now he's like,
right.
It's good?
Right.
It's a way you have to do it. To make, you have to, the point, and when you want to get to sway somebody, I'm going to get in trouble for this. But when you're looking to, like, get somebody on your side with something, you have to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Not manipulate.
Yeah, not manipulate, not bribe either, but make it about them. Because what you're doing is it's like talking at. No, you cannot. We're going to church. Put this on, and you walk out. It's like now I'm like, I don't want to wear it. But if I flip it, and I'm like, okay, why do you want to wear it?
Right.
Because I was like, okay, but it doesn't look. You have to.
I've had both
convert
angles.
Because how would you feel if somebody told you? No, hold on. How would you feel? You got your hair done. Yeah, I'm gonna flip it on. You got your hair done, right? Okay. And I come in, and I know where we're going.
Right.
And I look at you, and I'm like, go for that. I got one. You dress clubby, right? You dress clubby, but we are going to a ball. And I'm like, man, okay, maybe she don't get it. Hey, you need to take that off. That don't look like, that's not gonna go with, we're going here. Right. I told you we were going here. Right. You should change, because it's not. How would that make you feel?
I like honesty. Everybody's different, like you said.
The average woman.
Why? What's wrong with me? Am I fat?
Right. Like the average woman. Right. Maybe not all. I'm just saying. But if I come,
what's wrong with that? What I have?
And I say, sweetheart, why don't you where's that such and such that you had?
Yeah.
And the one I like. And you're like, oh, yes. Can you put that on real quick? I just want to see something. I'm like, oh man. Yo.
It's all about the approach.
Yes. But the same thing. Win-win.
Okay, so you have a son, right? And then your son says to you, Dad, I want to wear a dress to church. How would you approach that?
Why do you want to wear a dress?
Because I like the way it looks. I feel pretty.
So you feel pretty. Define pretty. Both girls wear dresses, you know that, right?
Yeah, but I feel pretty. I like the dress.
So you like dresses?
Yes.
You don't like pants?
I want to wear the dress.
You know what we're doing?
What are we doing?
Hey, y'all, we ain't going to church today. All right, come on, come take a ride. Let's go talk. We're going to the park, and I'm having a conversation with him. See? That's canceled. Because it's a family first. What's so important about church at that point? Let me find out what's going on with my son and in his head and what's going on with my son.
That's the
you're missing the big picture. The corporation is at home.
Right.
Everybody running to this freaking building.
Right.
Church is at home. What's wrong with your family? You're not paying attention. Everything is like, no, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this like this, because that's how I was raised. That's how Mama did it, and that's how my grandparents and my great and all that. Stop. Break the cycle. Fix home.
That's a problem with a lot of families. No communication.
I do this for a living, so that's what.
So you go and you speak. So you go and you speak to your son. You have this ride. You go to the park, and now you want an understanding of why he wants to wear this dress, and you realize this is just what he wants to do, and he's very adamant and passionate about it and genuine about it. Do you allow him to wear the dress now, or do you wait till he's a certain age where you feel that he and is in a better position to make that decision?
What I will probably do is try to slowly, because I know how the world is. So what I would do is I would have a conversation with him about what's going on, why he feels, and how the world is at the same time. Say, so how about we don't do the suit? Would you feel more comfortable? How about we do this or this or this, or do it this way, and get some feedback from him? How does he feel? My son's not going to be uncomfortable. Whether it's not a matter of what I want. I want this football player, man. I just had to. Oh man, and the wife and the grandkids and the wedding and the cake and the best man. Well, guess what? It's not about you. This is his life. I'm not going to scar my son based off of me having high expectations. That was my vision, mine. I am not him. So it behooves me to sit down and figure this thing out along with him. I'm your rock. You know, what are we gonna do here? How am I gonna make sure you're okay? How you're safe? Because my job, I do it for other people, so I have to make sure that your foundation is strong and you're ready. You know, and I'm gonna teach you how to keep negative energy away from you by being confident. I break that confidence the minute I am the enemy. Now I'm acting like everybody out there. The whole corporation crashes.
So, do you let your son wear the dress?
I just answered your question. First of all, we're not going to church.
I got that part. And you said
I'm
that
gonna have a conversation with him to see. I said there's levels to
But
it.
if he's adamant about, I get what you're saying. You said you're gonna find other solutions or try to find other solutions. Let's meet in the middle somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But what if he doesn't want to meet in the middle? What if he's adamant about, I want to wear the dress. Like, I don't want to wear the slack. Okay, you said I don't have to wear the suit. But he just wants, so where do you step in as, like, so do you give in? Or do you, like, what if it's not penetrating? You're trying to protect him from the world.
No. Well,
right? So I'm trying to understand when someone is adamant. Like, you have these kids that are adamant and parents are trying, there are parents that think like you and that are trying to meet their children in the middle and it's not working. So these kids, because they couldn't put on a dress, they're killing themselves. So, you know, maybe you don't have the answer. I'm not saying you do or you don't. But what if your son is just that adamant about wanting to be who he is and not caring about what the world says and he wants to wear that dress, but you're still trying to protect him from...
If it gets to that point, go in there with your mama and y'all go do whatever you do. I mean, I can't help him with the dress. I don't do
and the mom don't want him to wear the dress.
No. I'm not going to be married to a woman that's not on the same. That's why I'm single, see. So you're asking these questions to me directly. So here's a lesson for a life lesson for people in general. If you are in a relationship with somebody where you're total opposites, you should not be there because it's gonna be a rough ride from start to finish. It's not gonna end well. Even if it's to your demise, it's not going to end well. It's going to be a miserable life. I refuse to be in a relationship, especially have kids, build a corporation with a woman that we're not on the same page.
Often.
So no.
I was going to say, sometimes you don't know how you're going to react.
I do because I have these that's why I'm single. I've been single going on 3 years now. Any other questions? For that very for that very reason, because I have not found my match.
Okay.
I have these conversations prior to.
So you
like we're having.
Okay. So I mean, now I got my answer though. So that was I was trying
to
get to.
If it's that serious to the point where like he can literally like take himself, I love my child. No, that's my seed. You know. That I would have to live with that for the rest of my freaking life. A garment. Go in there with your mama and y'all figure it out. And I'll have to, even if I'm not saying that I may not feel some type of way, I would be lying to you. If that's my son and I had, generally speaking, your son, this, that, you got this picture. And if it's not like that, I'm not saying I wouldn't have some grieving moments, but that's so fish of me to like roll that over into what he's got going on. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to understand it or be good with it, and then come back.
So let's
but yeah,
let's throw an age on it. Okay, let's say he's 6 years old. Now, if he's 16, I can understand because they're going into themselves, and you're kind of you're into 14, 15, 16 different ages. Like that's where I believe kids are starting to understand who they are or know where they want to go, but they're 6. So do you think there's a difference in the age of, okay, now the 6-year-old boy wants to...
Because I've watched a few documentaries on that.
There's a young girl right now on the show.
Yeah, where it was like a big, where she was little.
Yeah.
She's probably...
Jasmine, I think her name is. I can't think of her name right now.
Even kindergarten, I don't know.
Yeah, she was wearing dresses at 3.
I would be able to determine if it's
A phase.
A phase, or yep. Because I remember my cousin, he would go and put my mom in them heels on. He's straight as they come.
My son has done that too.
You know what I mean? So you got to kind of be careful with it. But if it's, you'll know, like if it's persistent and it's, and you, listen, like I said, my mom, talking to her now, if she was here, she would tell you, like, nothing, it's not a surprise. It's not, you know.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. So
and that's still my baby. Sean is still Sean. You know, the personality and everything. I'm still me. You know, she should tell you, like, I'm blessed because I had a she tells people all the time, she'll say, I gave birth to a girl and I have a son.
Well, okay, with that being said, let's talk about your transition. At what point did you decide that, okay, I'm in the wrong body, I'm about to fix that? How old were you?
I was late 20s. And I remember I was contracting overseas, and I was going to the gym and everything, and things really started to get to me. I don't know. I don't know if it was because of the isolation being over there and the saying of kind of just not having the worldly distractions. So there's no entertainment. So my entertainment was the gym and watching movies. And I worked every day. It was 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And when I got off work, the bus would drop us off at our tents, and I would jump on my bike and I would ride to the gym, go home, eat, and then I would sit there and I would watch 5 Mile. Whatever.
8 Mile?
I mean 8 Mile. Yeah, I'm sorry. I would watch 8. I'm sorry. I would watch 8 Mile or the 50 Cent movie, just whatever. But you know, it just dawned on me the stuff that I was watching. The Tupac movie, I just put them and fall asleep, wake up, do it all over again. So I really, it set me down where I was forced to be in my head, and everything really started to come up. Okay. And I said, man, you know, I'm working out, and I would take pictures of myself. I got some of them online. It was pre-op picture. I had a chest. Right. I could literally walk outside like that and pictures to prove. This was before surgery, but in my head I was just like, nah, I think I should be a little more, you know, flatter or sculpted. So I was like, that's how I got up to 100 push-ups, like I do now every morning. It's my ritual. Just banging on my chest. That was my first point. The first muscle that I focused on the most was my chest. Okay. So what it was, I scoped my chest, but I still wasn't satisfied. What got to me was my nipples, my nipple size. That was like so in my head. What I would do is, I didn't have no bra, no sports bra, nothing. But I would take a Band-Aid and I would just strap it across so that way it would make me flat, and I was good. I go to work. What happened was the skin started to get raw. So I was at a point where I was like switching positions of where I would put the Band-Aid, and you would look at my chest and it was just like raw, all like this circle of rawness, right? So I think that's when it started. I was okay with doing it like that, and then that's when it started to get to me. I'm like, man, like it started to hurt. So with the pain, association with the pain is like, what are you doing? Look at you. Right. And I was like looking at myself in the mirror for who I was, and I was just like, nah, man. I was like, yo, when I get back to the States, I gotta have surgery. Before that, my rock bottom, and I remember I got super emotional. I just like passed out on the floor. I took some floss. And this is how deep this stuff is. Like people are looking at it like, oh, you wanna be, ain't what I wanna be. Because everybody goes through these extremes. Right. Like it's real, you know. Right. I took some floss and I was like, I know how they cut off moles. I took some floss and I tied it, and I just started tightening, and then it was just like super fat and pulsing. It was like I couldn't get it to clip, and it was too unbearable. And then finally, I took like scissors, and I was able to get it in there to clip it for relief. And that was my bottom. That was the bottom for me, and that's when I knew something. It was like I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, something's I started beating myself. I'm like, something's wrong. Who does this? I started talking to myself. I'm like, who? You're crazy, dude. Who does this?
Wow.
So once I calmed down, I maybe, you know, I went to the computer
Google
cafe, and I just started like Googling surgeons and stuff like that. So this was before I knew what a trans man was. Though. I said, I transitioned.
You didn't even know.
No. And I was like, I just was calling. You know, I knew I was like, I'm gonna go home. And when I get home, you know, I put the money to the side and everything. I was like, I don't care how much it costs. I'm gonna have chest surgery. So I'm calling it like, we don't do surgery like that. I'm like, surgery like what? What are they talking about? Now I understand. But then I was very upset because I just think, I'm like, I got the money. I just want you to you know, go in and take out whatever extra tissue that shouldn't be there. Make me flat. So I found a guy. It was a regular surgeon. I didn't go to any FTM. There was no association. And I said, hey, this is what I want. He said, oh, so you want I have male patients that have what you call like gyno or
it's a term for men.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'll just pretty much do the same surgery I would as on a male patient.
Yeah. Wow. So then, and that brings you to the chest surgery.
Yeah, so I had the chest surgery.
And so now you're happy. You're doing your push-ups. So now they're going from breast to pecs.
Well, they were pecs. It was mainly the nipple thing that was bothering me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That was like the big burn. Then I was like, well, just go ahead. If I'm gonna have surgery, I'm gonna have surgery. Right. I'm not gonna spend money on just that. Let's do the whole thing. Anything that can go, take it. But I was flat chested from the start.
Well, okay. And so then you decided to take it up a whole nother notch, right?
Yeah, that's through finding out what was going on. You know, through television. Something that came on television. It was like a documentary.
Okay.
Like how this other documentary will pop up and somebody just, once it airs on television and some kid will just be sitting there watching it, and I did a double take and I was like, it was like the guy that was standing there talking and then they had a picture of a girl. And then it was something that transpired that caught my attention. I was like, wait a minute, I grabbed it more and I turned it up. I was like, what? Yo!
So you had the response.
And I was all in and I was stuck, and afterwards I just jaw dropping. And the crazy thing, I never asked her this, but shortly after that evening, my mom called me.
Wow.
And she said, you know, I just want you to know if there's ever anything that you want to do, you know, I just want you to be happy.
Wow.
And I was just like, what is going on here? How I just seen this, like, did you watch? But I didn't. It was so touchy and so sensitive. I didn't even want to. I just let it go, and I said, I know, Mom. I know. You know, I'm fine. You know. I got off the phone. I was like, it's weird. So I said, man.
Sorry, Googling again.
Yeah, and I ended up running across. At that point, see, the way I went through was like you had to. I don't think it's still the same, or if it's combo of the two, but I had to go through like a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
You know, they want to make sure that, you know.
Yeah, they do that with weight loss surgery too.
Okay, so, and that point I got the referral to start hormone therapy. So that's how that. Yeah, that's when I was like, okay, you know, and it was cool.
How did you feel when your beard started growing?
Like any guy going through puberty. You just, all of it is, it's just puberty, late puberty. Just look at it like that. Just like how young men feel, you know, come, you know, in high school, and your voice starts changing and everything, and all that. The same thing takes place within the body.
So you did the chest, you did the hormones, and now did you go all the way, like, to get the full surgery where you're now complete now?
I don't answer that question. The reason I don't answer that question is because I know that I represent a mass community, and there are a lot of men out there that don't feel comfortable. It's an inappropriate question. I understand it's an inquisitive question. I respect that part of it, but the last thing I want is for people to feel comfortable just walking up to trans men, hey, because that's like the number one question. It's inappropriate, you know what I mean? It's a private thing. Some guys, some women are okay. I mean, just like some women are, you know, we have porn sites. Some people are just okay with just being open, period. So I have to make sure that I'm careful about what I say when it comes to something that's private, based off of viewers' reaction, and then feeling comfortable enough just to approach somebody that may, you know, it's like, dude, like that's private, man. You know what I mean?
That's
Ask me about
understandable.
something like that.
But I just asked just to understand, and again, I understand you're not going to answer it.
Well,
but
what
I'm
is
telling
it?
you
What is
why.
it specifically that you want? You want to know? Like as far as like,
Did you have the full surgery?
You're asking me the same question. I'm saying you want to understand. So I'm looking for
Because it would have
what
went
is it
to when people. I wonder, I completely understand. I mean, it's for you to go to that extreme, to go have your penis cut off or have one put on. That to me, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's solidifies when someone says they're born in the wrong body. For someone to go to that extreme, to me, I believe them. You know what I mean? When you're going to the extreme, it's like, yes, you're born, and yes, you understand what I'm saying? And then it would have went to other questions. Okay. But it's just like, I wanted to know how far did you go, and then.
So I can answer that question, like, generally.
Okay.
Okay. Based off of what you asked, you're saying that would be total confirmation for you, like, yeah, if you went to that extreme, but you have to understand too that that's not necessarily the case, because you're talking about energy, right? And masculine and feminine energy. So you have some that or feel incomplete without. And that's a must for me, and I have to have it done. You have others that are afraid because with any surgery there is there could be complications. Could make things far worse than what they are. A sensation loss or what have you. There are some that cannot afford.
Right.
There are some that are happy with the growth that they had from the
surgery.
Yeah. That are like, you know what, I'm straight. I'm satisfied. You know what I mean?
Right.
So generally, it depends on the person or person's situation, but that still doesn't take the away from the fact of them being transgender just because of your genitalia. You understand?
Wow. I mean, 'cause now I thought, and for those of you that haven't researched it, you can clarify this. I thought transgender was when you actually changed your gender.
That is changing your gender.
Like change.
You're talking about sexual body parts.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But we're talking about gender. Those are two totally different things. So when we're talking about, for example, the same thing when it comes to sexuality.
Okay.
Being transgender, being a sexual identity, and being lesbian or gay being sexual orientation. Those are two totally different things.
Excellent.
Transgender is sexual identity, who I identify as male.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Sexual orientation is who am I attracted to sexually. So I've seen transgender men attracted to men.
Does it make them gay?
Yes. You understand? Do you understand?
Yeah, it's confusing as hell, but I get what you're saying.
It's not when you break it down.
Right.
Don't think too much into it.
It's
So you have, and vice versa. Okay, let's break it down a little further. So you have, like, I consider myself, I don't like labels, but okay, if I was to have to, for the sake of understanding, like a stealth man, that means someone that I'm a man. I wouldn't, if I wasn't in this position, I'm doing this for a reason.
Right.
To inspire. If I wasn't in this position, nobody would know. with the exception of somebody that I'm intimate with. I feel like I have to, it's a must. I owe them that right to share that information. Hey, this is me. Right. But just in passing, right, I don't owe you to tell you nothing like that. And then number one, it's not even on my mind. Right. So you got to be careful who you say things around, and two, because you're the fireman that came and put the fire jar, the ambulance driver, your dentist, right, could be transgender. Right. You don't even know. Right. And it's not your business to know that. Right.
So when you change the sex on your license, that's not a requirement to have had the surgery.
It depends on the state, I think. When it comes to that, I think it depends on the state. I'm not sure how that goes.
Interesting. Okay, I'm off. This is such an intriguing topic, to me, and I want to be educated.
Let's put it like this. So we're talking about genitalia, right? So let's say a man goes to war and everything from the waist down gets blown up. Does that now make him human? He doesn't have a penis.
Wow.
Is he not a man anymore because he doesn't have a penis?
Boy, Sean, you were just the way. I mean, isn't it crazy the way he just? This is why you guys. This is why I want to do this with you, because I mean the way you explain things, the way you break it down, it's thought provoking and it has you going
And I don't for 1 second think that I'm very passionate when I speak, and sometimes it may come off as aggression or I'm upset, and it's not that. So I heard you when you at one point I think you was like no calm. No, I'm calm and I'm not upset. It's just that I get,
right.
And then,
and I didn't mean any disrespect by the question. I just
exactly. I totally get it. But I just have a way of getting my point across. As long as you understand me, right, and my
your position,
not position,
demeanor,
the way that I express myself. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's no harm. Please don't take it.
Okay. Okay. Think of my questions here now, because I have a whole bunch of things going on in my head in regards to question. In regards to your personal life with women, have you had a lot of curious women who found that you were transgender, wanted to sleep with you just because of like curiosity?
Women are like that.
What?
Women are like that, just with everything.
Did you turn them out?
You sit there, you try to, I make, had just moved. I just moved till I look busted. I stop in Kroger or wherever, and I'm picking something up. I'm like, hey, what's cool? How you doing, man? Fine. Keep walking. Same woman. I end up seeing her. I pull up in my Maserati or something, and I say the same hello. Hey, how you doing? I'm fine. Women are like that. They're intrigued by the unknown.
And so do you entertain situations like that?
It depends. It depends. It depends, because sometimes I like to play get back too. Because if it was a situation where I was just being nice, just being smooth, and you kind of like blowing me off, and then all of a sudden whispers, and then here she comes. I might blow you back off. No longer interested. Or, it just depends. I don't know.
So have you did payback with women? Like, for example, there are women, I've done this myself with guys. Like, guys, for example, there were guys that didn't talk to me when I was heavy. And then when I lost all the weight, they didn't even know who I was. Right, now they want to talk to me. So I had this get back thing. So you have you ever had a woman that found out you were transgender, and then she was like, and then she all of a sudden she's around you and she's like, dang, I kind of like him, and then you just like, let me go on.
I'm not really petty. Nah, I'm not really a petty person.
You got some story. There's a story in there you're thinking about. I want to hear. Go on, tell me.
Nah, I'm
Yeah,
just
there's a
thinking.
story.
Yeah, nah,
I want to hear it.
I think what can happen, I've seen a couple of times, people can be high schoolish.
Okay.
And if I'm chopping it up with a woman, just in passing, nothing serious or whatever, and there's still, you know, just that energy, like she kind of feeling me or whatever, and then come back and she's changed, her whole demeanor's changed. I kind of got a feeling of what happened. And it's cool, I just let it be. But then it'll come back around because I think it's like one of them things where they start, because women, you guys are very, you observe everything. So you look in and you see like people talking to me, and you see other women that are okay.
Right.
And now it's like, you want to kind of slide back in. It's like, it's over.
Okay, so
You know,
you won't entertain it just as a...
Yeah, it's over because you showed me. Why should I?
Right.
That told me what kind of person you are. So it's like by affiliation now, because everybody, you had to be okay with it, knowing that everybody else was okay. I don't like people like that. Okay. Personally, I don't. Meaning,
because
you can't be in my. I can't allow you in my.
Right.
My
Well, that's
circle.
someone that doesn't speak for think for themselves.
Exactly. So you're kind of like.
Do you find being with women that have been with other men, meaning men that were born men, do you find that you have to go that extra mile sexually? Or like, is there like you feel there's a competition, or you want to make sure?
There is no competition. It's me. It's them. It's him. It's you know.
You seem you're very confident.
I am. Thank you.
How many women are outside the house in the bush? Because you're very confident. Okay, break.
For instance, like in the film, and to each his own, you know, no biggie. But if you notice, I wasn't out there. If I'd have been out there, they would have got a clip of that. And because I don't look at, was that not draining?
What?
Was that not draining? That's draining. Just even thinking about it, like the back and forth and go to hell. Man, feel and think how you want to feel. Let me talk about what I'm for. Let's talk about some high vibe stuff over here with these people. I'm a build. That right there, it takes away so much energy to go back and forth with people that will never see your view.
Right.
They're never going to get it.
Right.
And if they do, they're going to get it because you're over here and you're building this up and it's so loud. You silence those that are in, you know, a rut and that angry. They're angry. That takes a lot of energy to be that freaking angry over something that has nothing to do with you. Like that, I don't live with you, brother. And even if I did, you know what I mean? So I'm going to leave y'all over there. And we're going to go over here. And we're going to talk about some good stuff and how to build and how to, you know what I mean?
He can't turn his back to me while he's talking. Please don't do that again. Show all those muscles.
You're going to get in trouble.
Get my words up. I'm not going to get in trouble. But you were just over here flexing, doing all this while you talking, and all these muscles I've never seen in the back before just start popping out. Oh my God, did you see his... Anyway, all right, so.
You ready?
Okay. We're finished with the sex talk. I had to take a break. I can't wait to go home. Anyway, once you finished your transition and you finally.
The physical transition.
And you now, this is who I am. What did you feel? Like once you actually became who you knew you weren't?
Like Black Panther.
Like Black Panther?
Yeah.
Poor women. Poor women.
It's a good feeling because it's like this, you know, how everybody should feel when they become who they were. There's a lot of lost people out here outside of transition.
Right.
Lost souls have no idea who they are, and you know, date people for the sake of fulfillment instead of like filling their own cup,
right?
And searching for somebody else, not searching, but just end up gravitating towards somebody else that their cup is full too, and that's how you make it come. You know what I mean?
Wow. So did Black Panther, when the Black Panther became that superhero, did he go out on the prowl more than he did already?
I wouldn't say more. I never had a problem when it came to like, you know, dating and stuff like that. I think that from my last relationship, you know, I took a pause. I went a little over the top initially, which I think a lot of guys, might be commonplace. Just to kind of like, cover up the, you know, what's actually happening, what just happened.
Yeah.
But once I settled, it was like, you know, dude, you need to like take a pause and all that and find out exactly what it is that you've been missing, because it's been the same thing over and over and over again. So what is it? Learn who you are. Fill your own cup. And that's what I did. And I've been single ever since.
Wow.
I date, but not, you know, serious relationship or something like that.
Do you do you see yourself in another relationship, a serious relationship? Is that something you want eventually?
I want whatever's gonna be best for me. Does that make sense? I want to be happy, and I am happy. So the minute if someone comes along my way and they're just, you know, they just got it. You know, they make me high in all the right ways. Then it's possible. And if not, I'm content with where I am because I'm happy right now. You know, it's not something that I think about. I'm not saying maybe tomorrow I won't wake up and be like, man, you know what? I think it's that time. But even if it was, it would be me manifesting it as far as like, you know, willingly. Visualizing that. Have I done that? No. Visualizing her and different scenarios, and that's how you will things to you. And then just sealing the envelope and sending it off and going on about my day, and all of a sudden, here she is. But not looking. I don't believe in searching. It just happens. Whatever you want, you can get it if you it's right here. If you imagine it, and then you remain in a high vibration, you maintain your happiness. It's maintenance. Then it's whatever you want. It comes.
But do you want children one day?
I would say over a relationship, that's something that's like probably out of anything has kind of been messing with me for a little bit. Probably because I look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm an only child, right? Where's my legacy after that? Right? I have from a past relationship, me and a woman, we was together for 6 years. When I dated her at the time, he was 10 months. So we woke up with each since. And we still communicate, you know, but it's not where I wanted to be. It's like, you know what I mean? You know, she's moved on, of course, and married and great, you know, and he has a stepdad. So it's like I'm kind of like, you know, in out. And that's, to me, that's, you know, I know what it's like to have like that's your child, right? You know, so yeah, that might I can honestly say that is a void more over even just a relationship. So with that said, when that day occurs, it definitely have to be somebody that's on my page. But here's the thing, I'm totally okay with if that's not my path, right? This life path, right? There'll be several lives, you know, ahead, and I can plant the seeds for that thing. You know what I mean? But as of now, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's pretty much that's my focus. What are you supposed to be doing?
Okay, so let's say that you meet a woman, and she doesn't have any children, but she wants children, but she wants to be with you, but she doesn't want to adopt. So are you okay with? Say it again.
Let's make it happen. Wow. What we gotta do? Let's go see the doctor. Let him tell us what it is we gotta do to make it happen. Cause I shoot blanks. Sorry.
Go away.
I mean, what do we gotta do?
Take one for the team. Okay. What is in store for you moving forward? What can we expect? Greatness.
Yeah. I like to kind of stay in the lab with what I have invested up here, and I just showcase it when it comes out. I'm not one to like be big on talking about, well, this is what I got coming up. You know, like nobody knew about this. We've been talking about it. Nobody knew.
Right.
Boom, here it is.
Right.
It's like, oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
What keeps you so positive and so motivated and leveled? Like you always find the positive out of a negative, and that's awesome. And you're not emotional. You're very logical. That's definitely a man, because women, we're just crying.
I think it's falling in love with yourself. I mean, I always wasn't this balanced. It's a balance. I had to learn, and not seeking for validation from outside. Validate myself. You're not cool with it? Okay, well, you don't have to be around me. And being okay with that. I don't like you. Okay? It's great. It's not my problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even if we have to work together, all right, cool. You don't have to like me. Let's get this work done, and we go our separate ways.
Right.
Or if it just just don't have to be, then don't. People that come and want to say craziness on other, go to other people's pages and somebody may post something. I see stuff all the time that I don't agree with, but I don't have to go and put my opinion. Like that's how they feel.
Right.
Me going and bashing their comment or their post is not going to make things better.
Right.
It starts controversy, and it's a waste of energy in a pool, and it's draining.
Thank you, seriously, for sitting down with us and inviting me out here. It's been very enlightening, and I'm sure this is not going to end here, but you've educated us so much just on the few things that we touched and opening yourself up to us. I admire you for it. I think you're very courageous. I think you're definitely a beautiful person inside and out. And I say that with all sincerity. You're very caring. Not only do you love yourself, you love other people. And you value the lives of other people. And I really appreciate you for that and admire you for that. And I just want to close out with He's a Biter.